Hello, dear students. Now let us discuss the last three stanzas of the poem, The Ballad of Father Gilligan. Okay, and in the stanza 9, we have discussed how Peter Gilligan became very sorry when he got to know from the deceased person's wife that her husband died an hour ago. Okay, now Peter Gilligan dreamed of his death, but when he was confirmed that the sick man died before his arrival, he could not control himself. He was bewildered. He swayed to and fro. And let us see what more the sick man's wife informed Peter Gilligan thereafter. Now, when you were gone, he turned and died. Come to stanza 10. It is the speech of the wife of a deceased person, the sick person who has died. When you were gone, he turned and died. When you were gone, mark it, you were gone. And I have told you, Peter Gilligan was asleep on his chair early in the evening when the moths were flying around. And Peter Gilligan knew himself that he did not come to attend the sick man. But according to the wife of the sick man, Peter Gilligan had come to attend her husband before his death. Now, when you were gone, soon after your departure, when you returned back to your house, he turned and died. Now, her husband died. How? Changing his side. He turned his side and he died. How did he die? As merry as a bird. You see, as merry as a bird is a simile. Simile means indirect comparison. Now you see, when we are comparing two different things, unlike things, and trying to find some semblance, some similarity between them, it is called a simile. Now you see, the wife of the dead person compared the death of her husband with the death of a bird. Husband, a human being, bird, non-human being. Now here, her husband died as merry as a bird. Her husband died happily, without any remorse, without any penitence, without any obsession. He died as if all his sins were expiated, as if all his sins were atoned, as if he was free from any burden of sin. Now he died quite happily. How? Just like a bird. Now we don't know whether a bird dies happily. Rather, we can compare here to other things. Now this body is just like a prison. This body is just like a cage where our soul is kept. It is kept within. It is encased. Just like the encasing of a bird, just like petting a bird inside a cage. And when we are releasing a bird, when we are giving freedom to a bird becomes happy. Similarly, when our soul releases, when we die, our soul comes out, it becomes happy because it is now free from bondage, it is now free from all burden of sin. Now, as merry as a bird, her husband died. The old priest Peter Gilligan, he knelt him at that word. You see, Peter Gilligan listened to it very silently. He became happy that the husband of this poor woman died happily. She had no complaint, nor did her husband. Nobody had any complaint, although he had neglected his duty. And with this, Peter Gilligan knelt himself. He knelt down on the ground. On the first occasion, when he failed to perform his duty, when he turned down the request of the caller, he knelt down before God to seek forgiveness. Now you see the second occasion when Peter Gilligan is kneeling down again. Peter Gilligan is kneeling down again, hearing the words that her husband died very happily, just like a bird. He knelt him at that word, and Peter Gilligan is placing his knee on the ground and praying God. And what did he say? Now come to the next stanza, stanza 11, to see what did Peter Gilligan say while kneeling. In the previous occasion, Peter Gilligan prayed to God to forgive him. Now here, he who hath made the night of stars for souls who tire and bleed. Souls who tire and bleed. Remember, Peter Gilligan, in his prayer, in his thankfulness, in his obligation to God, gratitude to God, said, he who hath, here, hath means has. Old English word. Old English word is hath. I have told you one of the important features of ballad poetry is use of old English word or archaism. Now you see, he who hath made, who has made what? The night of stars. Who has created night? We know in the previous stanza the poet has told us God has created the night. And God has created the night. God has created the night which is studded with stars, fitted with stars, glittering stars are there in the night sky. God has created the starry night for what? What is the purpose? For souls who tire and bleed. We see, we know it very well that souls do not tire. Souls do not feel pain. Rather, we feel physically tired, we feel mentally tired, and we also suffer mentally and physically. Now, here, souls refers to the human beings, to the people. The people, those who tire, feel exhausted because of hard work during the daytime. And again, the people, those who bleed, those who suffer, those who experience excruciating pain due to some disease, due to some hardship, night is meant for them. God has created night for the people, for the poor people, for the hardworking people, for the suffering mass, to take rest at night, to relax their body, to feel comfort, to sleep at night. And the God who has created the night for the poor people, for the suffering people, for the hardworking people, he is also very, very kind. Kind to whom? To Peter Gilligan, because he sent one of his great angels, this age capital refers to God, his great angels down to help me in my need. God is merciful. He is our Father, He is our Creator, He is our Preserver, and He is our Caretaker. Now, without God we have no existence. God is so kind that He has created night for our rest. He has created also night to converse with people, to whisper with people. And the same God, merciful God, sent one of His great angels down. Now God is omnipresent, God is omniscient, God sees everything, and God is all powerful. And when God saw Peter Gilligan asleep on a chair helplessly, God took pity on Peter Gilligan, and to perform his duty, to do the work of Peter Gilligan in guise of an angel, God sent one of his great angels down to earth from heaven to help Peter Gilligan in his time of need. You see, God never fails those who believe Him, those who trust in Him, those who pray Him, those who surrender before Him. Now, here is the bright example that Peter Gilligan, a religious man, God's devotee, he is a man who serves God's creations. Now, when he was helpless, when he was undone, when he was asleep, God took pity on him to help him. God sent one of his bright angels, great angels, down to earth to do the work of Peter Gilligan. That means the prayer was offered by an angel on behalf of Peter Gilligan, so that a sick man, that poor man, died very happily because he got the touch of a divine creation, a heavenly creation, a supernatural element. Now, this is also another significant feature of ballad poetry, participation of supernatural element. And again, we also find the tone, the style of presentation is conversational. There is conversation between Peter Gilligan and the wife of the sick man. Now, several features of ballad poetry can be unveiled here. Now, sent one of his great angels down to help me in my need. Now, these are the words of gratitude. Sometimes when we receive somebody's help, somebody's assistance, somebody's service, we are so ungrateful that we forget to thank that person. But you see, how did Peter Gilligan express his gratitude to God? Now, he simply knelt down on the ground just like a small boy, quite innocent boy, simple boy, and praying God, thanking God for his great help. Now, come to stanza 12. He who is wrapped in purple robes with planets in his care. Now you see, the description of God, description of the attire of God, the dress of God differs from religion to religion. Now, according to the poet W. Yeats, what is the dress of God, the Creator? God is covered, God is wrapped in, God puts on what? Purple robes, purple dress. Now, the dress of God is purple color. That means purple is the symbol of royalty, sovereignty, and again this is also the symbol of nobility. Purple color, symbol of nobility, nobleness, and again the symbol of sovereignty, supreme power. Now, what is the dress of God? God puts on purple color dress, covers his body with a purple color dress, and this God who puts on purple color dress with planets in his care. God is taking care of not only the living and breathing human beings, not only the non-living things. God is taking care of all the 8 planets, taking care of all the millions of stars, all the heavenly bodies. That great God who is taking care of the planets, who is wearing the purple color dress, a great God, God of gods, the King of kings, Emperor of emperors, had pity on the least of things. And you see the humility of Peter Gilligan. Peter Gilligan is taking care of large number of people in his parish, but he says a list of things. He doesn't say that I am the greatest creation of God. He does not say that I am a human being, I am the father of a church. Rather, he says, I am least of things, little less least. That means the most insignificant creature. Peter Gilligan names him, calls him to be the most insignificant, the smallest creature of this vast universe. Now, God, who is taking care of different planets, he does not forget this little creature, this little human being, this old P.S. Peter Gilligan, because Peter Gilligan was asleep on a chair. Peter Gilligan was asleep upon a chair, quite helplessly. A Lilliputian, a small human being, a small creature. God, who is taking care of different planets, even did not forget, did not neglect the simple, this humble, this gentle, this devoted Peter Gilligan, and shower pity on him. Now, God is merciful, and here in the last part of this poem, we see the working of 2 things. Here, on the surface of the earth, Peter Gilligan was working to serve people, to become a connecting link between the man and God. And again, above us, in the celestial sphere, in the heavenly sphere, we find incessantly, continuously the heavenly creatures, the great angels are also working and they are supervising our work, and whenever we fail to perform our duties, they, being directed by the supreme power, come down to help us, to serve us, to replace us, to work on behalf of us. Now you see, the entire poem bears testimony of the writer's deep and unfaltering faith on God the Creator. And according to him, the entire universe is the creation of a God, and without God nothing ever happens, and without God even the blade of a grass does not move. And therefore we have to feel obliged to God, we have to pray God for every small and great things, for our sorrow and for our happiness, whatever may be the case. Now in the entire poem, the theme is those who believe in God, those who trust in God, those who work for God, those who serve people, they never fail in life. Rather, God blesses them, God showers mercy on them, just like Peter Gilligan. Thank you all for watching this discussion, the last part of the lecture on the ballad of Father Gilligan. Thank you for your watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel Damodar Mahanti's classes. Okay, thank you all.